I'm Trevor Turner. Once lost, now living on purpose. I know what it's like to feel locked out of your own potential. This show is for the ones who are ready to take their power back and write a new story, 1 hour at a time. You can do it. You can do anything, and you don't need permission. That's why I started the free hour, to give people the space to change their story, to remind them you are not your past, you are not your mistakes, you are not done, you are powerful. You can find freedom, you can find yourself, and you decide what happens next. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the free hour. It's your boy Trevor Turner. We're back with another video. We're back with another episode in our free hour ABCs, the ABCs of Tree. And this is emotional intelligence, where you learn to understand yourself so that you can connect deeper, understand better, and build a life rooted in awareness instead of reaction. This is where we talk about how to perceive, understand, deal with our own emotions, and be able to perceive, understand, and respond better to the emotions of other people. And today we're going to be talking about something I've been going through. And I feel like if I've been going through it, then other people might have been going through it too. So I feel like that's why this is important. Because I think a lot of us have come to a lot of different times in our lives where we get to a point where nothing feels clear anymore. We feel like we're doing everything we're supposed to, but it just doesn't feel like it's leading anywhere. We're tired, not just physically, not just mentally, but emotionally. And the scariest part is when you start asking yourself questions like, what if none of this is actually going anywhere? What if everything that I put in the work for is not going to get the results that I want? What if all the schooling that I did, what if all of this work I put into my career, what if everything I put into my kids, what if everything I put into my relationship isn't going to bear the fruit that I want? And you start feeling lost. You start feeling like you have no direction. You start questioning purpose. You start questioning all of those things that you've been putting all of this energy into, right? And I think that's something that happens to a lot of us. I mean, like I just said, it's something that happened to me. And I really want to talk about finding direction when you feel lost. So today is the letter M, and we're going to be talking about meaning. We're going to be talking about finding direction when you feel lost. Because when I used to feel like this, I didn't call it being lost. I didn't call it losing my way. I didn't call it losing my sense of navigation. I didn't call it losing my direction. I called it frustration. I called it burnout. I called it bad luck. I called it all sorts of different things, but really it's something deeper than all these surface level things. Because when we don't have meaning, everything starts to feel heavy. When we don't have purpose firmly in mind, when we don't have our actions firmly rooted in our purpose, firmly rooted in where we're trying to go, firmly rooted in meaning, when we start to question ourselves and the meaning for everything we're doing, the framework for everything that we have going on, we start to feel heavy. We start to feel overwhelmed. And I used to blame everybody else. I used to blame my boss. I used to blame the environment that I'm working at. I used to blame the fact that I lost that one job and I had to go across the street to get the other job. I used to blame the fact that I stayed in this town. I blame the fact that I'm at this school instead of that school. I blame so many different things. I blame the lack of balance. I blame the teachers I had, even though all my teachers are great. Like all of these situations, I tried to find blame and I tried to lash out and I tried to put it outwardly. But really what was happening was inward. Because what do we do when we start to feel heavy and we start to lose meaning? We start to distract ourselves. We start to fall into things like scrolling instead of being productive. We start to do things like waiting for motivation instead of relying on discipline. We start to question everything we've built. We start to think about quitting. We start to think about all of the different things that we could be doing instead. We ought to start to think about all those what ifs. Or worse, we keep going, but we go disconnected. We go without feeling. We go through the motions. We go without heart. Our head is there, our spirit is not. And that's the dangerous one. Moving forward with no connections to why you're moving at all. And I think that's where I was at. I mean, even recently, working, showing up, doing the right things, going through all the motions, at school, working, showing up, going through all the motions, participating, doing my classes, doing these videos, doing my social media stuff. And I think that because inside I wasn't seeing what I wanted to see, or I felt like it wasn't leading to anything, or I wasn't able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I forgot and I lost the perspective of just how far reaching and how long term my goals actually are. I don't have little dreams. I don't have tomorrow dreams. I don't have the next day dreams. I don't have 2027 dreams. I have 2028 visions, but I have 2034 dreams. I have 2040 dreams. I have 2050 dreams. And one of the things that I forgot is that nothing good comes overnight. Rome was not built in a day. And I lost perspective. And I didn't want to quit because I was weak. I wasn't feeling like leaving out the job because I was weak. I wasn't feeling like going to a different school because I was weak. I wasn't feeling like I needed this huge change in environment because I was weak. I wanted to quit because I lost sight of why I was still going in the first place. I lost sight of the framework. I lost sight of the root. I lost sight of what the tree was growing out of. I just saw that it wasn't growing as fast as I wanted it to. And the emotional intelligence that I've been able to cultivate, the awareness that I've been able to get, it taught me something most people never realize. Feeling lost isn't a sign you're off track. It's a sign that you've outgrown your old meaning. It's a sign that I was still holding on to a lot of old beliefs that I still need to let go. When we start to feel lost, it's a sign that we are still putting ourselves in these constraints. We are still putting ourselves into maybe environments or mental spaces that we have outgrown, that we don't fit anymore. We're assigning a level of meaning to ourselves. We're assigning a level of confidence to ourselves, a level of self-efficacy, a level of self-esteem that we have actually outgrown. It's a sign that you've outgrown your old meanings. Wait, you're not lost because you're failing. You're lost because what used to drive you doesn't drive you anymore. The purpose that you had, the things that you wanted to do, the things that you wanted to accomplish, they need to be changed. They need to pivot. You need to put into perspective the things that you come in, because we start to panic. Instead of recognizing those things, we start thinking, I'm falling behind. I'm wasting time. I should have had it figured out by now. I should be where I need to be right now. And what happens is that we're looking for something too small for what our actual goals and dreams are going to get us to, for what our actual potentiality is going to get us to. So we're on this track to something much bigger, something much greater. We're on the track to something that we can't necessarily see because our eyes can't see far enough. Our eyes can only see today. Our eyes can't see the future. Our mind can't contemplate. Our mind we can try to capture and control the feeling of how we want our life to end up and how we want to be, and start to manifest that and put those vibes out into the energy. But sometimes the things that the universe has in store for you, that God has in store for you, are so much bigger than those things. And that's the track you're on. You're in transition. Transition sometimes feels like confusion before it feels like clarity. Feeling lost isn't the end of your path. It's the moment that your path stops being automatic. It's the moment that you realize that you can no longer do these things on autopilot. It's the moment you realize that you can no longer show up with disconnection. It's the moment that you realize that you can no longer half-ass things. It's the moment that you realize that you have to contribute mindfulness to everything that you're doing, that you have to be present and you have to be there. You have to be fully there and you have to be in it 100%. Let's talk about psychological insight. There's a concept in psychology called logotherapy, developed by Viktor Frankl. He's important because he is a psychiatrist and neurologist, a survivor of Nazi concentration camps, and the author of Man's Search for Meaning. And what he discovered is that even in the worst conditions imaginable, the people who survived weren't the strongest physically. They were the ones who still had a reason to keep going. Humans can endure almost anything if they have meaning. You can get through any situation if you have purpose. If you have something bigger than yourself that you are chasing after, you can get through anything. And the reason I say that is because my purpose, the framework that I made for my life, my constitution, the thing that I'm chasing after, the reason that I'm doing these stuff is what got me through when I was in some of the worst parts of my life, mentally, physically, emotionally, environmentally, everything. It's what gave me more freedom than I had ever felt in my entire life, even when I was behind those doors for 23 hours a day. Sometimes they didn't even want to let us out for that hour. Sometimes we would lose that. Sometimes I couldn't get to the phone. Sometimes I couldn't go take a shower. Sometimes I couldn't work out. Sometimes I was on that bunk, on the top bunk, for 24 hours an entire day, minus the times I would get up to use the restroom, minus the times I would get up and hop down to eat off my tray or eat out of my sack lunch or eat out of my commissary. I was in that thing for 24 hours a day, and my purpose, my meaning, the thing that I found that's bigger than myself, the thing that I found that's you, the people that I'm trying to help, the people that I'm trying to talk to, the people that I want to drive new different types of media for, the people that I'm going to school for, the people that I have this job for, kept me going. They keep me going. And the thing is that I think that I got lost in it, and I thought that I was going after comfort. I thought I was going after certainty. I thought I was going after happiness, but I'm not. I'm going after meaning. You're not tired because you're weak. You're tired because your current path isn't clearly connected to something feels meaningful right now. That's an emotional signal. That's not failure. I've been balancing school. I've been balancing work. I've been trying to build something bigger, and it started to feel like I wasn't getting anywhere. This is something I've been going through recently. I had a moment where I was really thinking about just quitting. Or I'm really thinking about, and I'm thinking about the results, right? And I'm not seeing them the way I want to in a lot of different areas in my life. So it's not just this, it's school, it's work, it's relationships, right? It's, social stuff. Like, I'm not seeing the stuff that I thought I should be seeing. And it was just making me so tired. So tired. Like nothing had changed in my life. And I was looking for every reason under the sun. I'm thinking it's my diet. I'm thinking it's testosterone. I'm thinking maybe I changed something up at the gym. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe it's my bed. Maybe it's my mattress. Maybe it was my supervisor, whatever, right? I'm just so tired. I'm blaming everything else but me. I'm blaming everything else about the fact that I may have lost sight of why I'm really doing these things, of why I'm really chasing these things, of why I'm really after these things. Because for me, lost actually feels like overwhelm. Because see, I don't know if you've ever actually just been lost, right? See, me, I'm a little bit older. I grew up before we had GPS, before we had navigation. So, I have been lost. I've lived overseas. There was a time when I lived in Hong Kong with my family, and I had no idea where the fuck I was at. That feeling that you get when you don't know where you are, if you could go back to being a kid in the grocery store, that feeling when you don't know where your parents are, that feeling that you don't know where your pop's at, your mom's at, your big sister's at, your auntie's at, you don't recognize anybody around you, you don't know how you got to this aisle, you look up and there's nothing familiar there, you look up and you don't know where to go to get to where you're supposed to be at. That feeling is what I feel in my body. I start to breathe heavy. I start to feel tired. I start to feel just heavy, like I'm under this huge weighted blanket. I know that's a comfort for some people, but for me, that's not a comfort. And I first noticed it when I was having this shift. And I was being put into this new department, this new role, and I was just filled with so much uncertainty, not really realizing that helping these people that they have assigned me to is more in line with my purpose than anything I was doing before. Even this, being able to help these people on a one-on-one basis is more in line than what I'm trying to do with my purpose, even than this, because I can learn what actually helps people. I can learn what actually reaches people. I can learn what actually hits people on an emotional level, what hits their heart and their head and makes them want to strive for better. But when I'm leaving the house before the sun comes up and I don't come back until way after the sun has gone down, and I'm not able to get to sleep, and I'm juggling all these different things, and I get lost in that because I can't see the forest for the trees, and I'm losing sight of my meaning, I'm losing sight of my purpose because all of this stuff is piled up in front of me. That's what it feels like. And what would that look like for me? What would quitting look like for me? It would look like a chain reaction. Because it wouldn't just be me not turning on this camera. It wouldn't just be me not reading the books anymore. It wouldn't just be me dropping out of school. It wouldn't be me just quitting that job. It wouldn't be me just trying to go to a new place and move to a new town. It wouldn't be just any of those things. It would be all of those things plus. It would be all of those things plus going back to the old ways. It would be all of those things plus trying to find the old ways to cope. It would be all of those things plus hurting people instead of helping people. It would be all of those things plus taking advantage of women instead of being the new man that I have promised myself that I would be for women, for myself, for people. That's what it would look like. It would look like poisoning my community again instead of trying to rebuild my community and undo some of the damage that I've done. It would look like destruction. It would look like a flood of negativity. It may not be a flood that's big enough to affect an entire city, but I guarantee you it's going to affect where I live at. I guarantee you it's going to affect everybody I know. I guarantee you it's going to affect everybody that I could have potentially reached because I wasn't there to reach them. But this is where we shift, because we're not just talking about just finding your purpose. We're talking about doing real emotional work. So stop asking, where am I going? Stop asking, what's the destination? Stop asking, what's the end result? Ask what actually matters to me right now. Sometimes meaning isn't only long term. See, for me, meaning is overarching, meaning is long term, but it's also right now. It's also doing what I need to do right now in the moment. Meaning is also something that I can break down. Sometimes it's just showing up for your future self. Sometimes it's just finishing what you started. Sometimes it's just proving to yourself that you don't quit. Sometimes it's just proving to yourself that you're stronger. Sometimes it's just getting up out of the bed and not letting the tiredness beat you. Sometimes it's just not letting the depression win. Sometimes it's realizing that your feelings are there, your feelings are okay, but your feelings don't have to be the ones in control. Sometimes it's just about putting your feet on the ground and just fucking getting up when you don't want to do anything that even remotely close to getting up. Sometimes it's just washing the dishes. Sometimes it's just taking the trash out. Sometimes it's just making the bed. Sometimes it's just cracking open that book. Sometimes it's just starting some shit. Sometimes meaning is so small that we feel like it would be insignificant, so we don't even do it. Sometimes it's just putting the phone down for a quick second and going and getting up and touching some grass. For your future self. For the person you will be 5 minutes from now. Because if you don't take the action now, the person you're going to be in an hour is still going to be in that bed, still going to be depressed, still not feeling like getting up, still not feeling like doing nothing, let alone having to deal with and respond to and react to the emotions of a whole other person. When you can't even when you can't even be who you need to be for yourself, how are you going to be who you need to be for somebody else? Reconnect your current struggle to a bigger story. Right now feels pointless, but zoom out. Zoom out. Who are you becoming through this and because of this? Who are you becoming through the depression? Who are you becoming through the tiredness? Who are you becoming through not wanting to get up and go to the gym? Who are you becoming through not wanting to get up and go to work? Who are you becoming through not having any more PTO left because you've taken all of these mental health days? Who are you becoming through all of those different things, wanting to throw in the towel, but not? You haven't yet, but you're close. And who are you becoming through feeling like that? Who are you becoming through feeling lost? Who are you becoming through that feeling of being overwhelmed? Who are you becoming through it? What version of you survives this phase? See, one of the things that I think about all the time, and I try to visualize this every single morning. Sometimes I'll miss at night before I go to sleep, but I do it every morning. And I think about where I'm going to be in 2028. I think about where I'm going to be in 2034. I think about what I'm going to be doing, what I'm going to have. But most importantly, I think about the person that I am going to be, the person that I need to become to achieve the things that I want to achieve at those points in my life. I think about the person that I need to become who doesn't do drugs, the person I need to become who is able to cope healthy, the person I need to become who is able to have a wife, healthy relationship, beautiful wife, beautiful children, the type of person that I need to be to achieve those things and maintain and sustain all of those things. And sometimes it's just about what version of me or what type of person that I need to be to survive the depressions when they hit, to survive when I'm lost and my vision gets blurry and I'm not able to see the forest for the trees and I'm not able to clearly see my meaning and I'm not able to clearly see the purpose, or when there's a shakeup of things and I feel like, damn, like I wasn't doing enough, or I'm not getting the results that I wanted, or I'm feeling like I should be further than when I am right now, or I'm comparing myself to other people even though I know damn well I shouldn't be doing that. What version of me survives this phase? Because look, meaning isn't always found. Sometimes our circumstances, sometimes our situations, sometimes the things that we go through assign that meaning. Because if I'm going to get to the greater meaning or the greater purpose, it needs to be broken down into smaller purpose and smaller meaning. And sometimes that shit is just assigned. Sometimes it's just assigning that meaning of, look, the meaning that you have today is getting your ass up even though you don't fucking feel like it. Sometimes the meaning of today is like, maybe you don't have enough energy to get up and go to the gym because you just feel so fucking down that you have nothing in the tank. But the meaning that you have is to get up out of that fucking bed and go in there and clean that kitchen, go in there and wash some dishes, go in there and get mindful, go outside and let the sun hit you, go outside in the backyard and play with your cat, play with your dog, go out there and do something, because that helps you get to where you're going to be, because that version of you is what survives this phase. And then let it be hard without making it meaningless. This is where a lot of people break. This is where I used to be one of them. Because when we start to feel tired, we start to feel like this isn't working for me. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I ain't got nothing left in the tank. This ain't working. You start to feel confused. You know what? This isn't for me. I can't see clearly. I can't see every eventuality. I don't have full control over this. I don't understand what's going on with this. I don't know why I'm feeling like this. This isn't for me. No. Sometimes shit is just hard. Sometimes life is just hard. Sometimes getting up out of bed is hard. Sometimes fulfilling your purpose and your meaning is hard. Sometimes it's hard to get up and go to work. Sometimes it's hard to get up and go to school. Sometimes if you want to fulfill purpose and get meaning, sometimes your days are hard. Sometimes it's just hard to go throughout the week and not be able to get home until after 11 o'clock at night if you've squeezed everything in. Work, school, the gym, people. It's hard. Sometimes it's just like that. Sometimes you just got to deal with it. Sometimes you got to think about the person that you are that survives this phase is a person that realizes that you can do hard shit. Sometimes it just gets hard. Sometimes life ain't easy. The things that are worth it, the things that are the most worth it, the things that are best for you, the things that you're going to enjoy the most, the things that are lasting, the things that are going to bring you the most fulfillment and happiness are not easy. Sometimes life is just hard. And hard doesn't mean wrong. When the going gets tough, it doesn't mean that you took a wrong turn somewhere. When the road gets bumpy, it doesn't mean that you got off on the wrong exit. Sometimes shit is just hard. Sometimes shit is just difficult. It's hard to wake up early in the morning and not hit the snooze button and put your feet right on the ground. It's hard to get up and go to work day in, day out. It's hard. It's hard to deal with those people you don't want to deal with. You didn't choose those people. Your boss chose those people for the bottom line to make money for the company. They didn't give a fuck how you were going to feel about them. And sometimes that shit is just hard. But it doesn't mean you're in the wrong place. It don't mean you're doing the wrong things. Look, feeling lost doesn't mean that you're broken. It just means that you've reached a point where the old reasons aren't enough anymore. And now you have a choice. Either you go back to what's comfortable, or you sit in the discomfort long enough to discover something deeper. You know, I'm really diving kind of deep into this rabbit hole with watching Deontay Kyle. And Deontay Kyle had a great video, a great highlight, a clip of his video where he's talking about that some of us just aren't willing to or won't be uncomfortable. Enough of us don't just be able to sit in discomfort. But if you sit in it long enough, you'll find something deeper. You're not behind. You're in the middle of becoming someone you just haven't fully understood yet. Look, when you're trying to do something new, when you're trying to trailblaze, when you're trying to make a new path, when you're trying to do something that you've never done, like it don't come with instructions, it don't come with a manual, and sometimes that shit is hard to figure out. Sometimes you're going to fall down, you're going to scrape your knees. Sometimes you're going to bump your head. Sometimes you're going to do all of those things. That don't mean it's wrong. That don't mean you're on the wrong path. That don't mean abandon it. That don't mean give it up. That just means keep going. Let that discomfort build you. Let that discomfort mold you. And that's been it. That's been your boy Tree. That's been Meaning on our Emotional Intelligence series, ABC series. 3-hour ABCs, ABCs of Tree, Emotional Intelligence. Man, this is where we learn to perceive, understand, deal with our own emotions, and do the same for others. And respond to them in the best way, the most healthy way possible, so that we can have the life that we don't have to run from or escape from, that we don't have to be ashamed of. All right? Once again, it's your boy Tree, Trevor Turner. If you like the video, like the video. If you're new here, subscribe, comment on the video. Let me know about some times that you may have felt lost. All right? And share with your friends. All right? Next time.